All right guys, welcome back to the training here. In this video, we're going to be going over all of the bulk file filters and actions for the bulk file tab. I don't like to keep the black lines on there if I don't need them. It does slow things down, so I'm going to hit remove. All right, so just quickly going through here. This first section up here is just related to filters. So there's some quick filters. This first one will always get you back kind of to the default state where it's got the campaigns at the top, your placements and ad groups, and then keywords underneath. It's going to be the default sort based on your initial bulk file import. All enabled targets, this is a pretty powerful filter. I'm going to go ahead and click it there. It's going to hide any paused or archived rows, and it's just going to show me the keywords. So you can see we've got keyword there and product targets now shown, all enabled in column R. And it's sorted by highest orders to lowest orders. So this can be a really good kind of first step when you import your bulk file to get some information on what's performing best in your account and just get some good insights in general. So just know that that's there. All right, next are just some metric filters. I'm not going to click these. This is just going to quickly show me any zero impression targets, any targets with conversions, or sort by high spend, kind of the same layout. Instead of sorted by orders, it's going to sort by high spend. The multi-SKU campaigns, I'm going to go ahead and click this one. This one's important because if you're using the SKU dashboard, if you recall, the SKU dashboard only applies to single SKU campaigns. So you'll see this filter here actually removes any targets that have a blank single SKU column. So we know that these targets, again, when I'm talking about targets, if we go over and look at the entity column, B, we see only product targets and keywords, and we see only enabled in the state column, and then column AC is all blank. So if there was a value here, we would know it's a single SKU target, but it is not. So all of these bids that would be associated with these targets would fall back to our account level row in our bid override table, which is this upper level red row that says do not delete. All of those would fall back to these settings here unless we had a target level override, a campaign level override, or a portfolio level override assigned that would govern those targets. So we very easily can check that, and I'll show you how to do that. If you want to know which one of these, I'll start with the ones that have orders because we would have likely assigned maybe some overrides for those. I'm just going to grab these here, hit Control C, and go over to your bid override table, go all the way down to the bottom. All right, you can see we need some more rows, so I'm just going to add 50 rows, hit add. All right, I'm going to click once there, hit Control Shift V. All right, and because these show up in red, this is what I wanted to show you. This means that the override has already been applied. So if we scroll up, you got 2 there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically those are already in there. So that's a quick way you could just delete those rows and then assign. You would want to put target right here if you want to add those as overrides. But I am not going to worry about that for now. I just wanted to show you kind of how to quickly see if you already have some overrides applied. And it's important you hit Control Shift V as in Victor. If you hit Control V like a regular paste, sometimes you'll screw up some of the formatting and whatnot. So that's why I always recommend in Apex just use Control Shift V. All right, going back to your bulk file, let's go and see what some of these other filters do. The Show Enabled Campaigns filter. So this one's nice for sponsored brands optimization. Sponsored brands, you don't use the SKU dashboard because the sponsored brands does not have a SKU column. You've got like the headline ads and whatnot where you can target multiple ASINs. So for the sponsored brands, you actually click that filter I just clicked, and then you grab all of the campaign names, which you can see highlighted by default. So with that, I'd hit Control C, and then I'd go to my bid override table, and I would apply, you'd paste the campaign names here, and you'd apply a campaign level override, and you'd use then the bid override table to manage your sponsored brand bid optimization. So I like to tag all of those campaigns as like SB for sponsored brands and just kind of assign your bid inputs from there. But we'll have another video that goes over your sponsored brands kind of optimization. All right, so next is going to be a series. We skipped this one here. This one just displays all of the targets that you have. If you've got targets assigned on your bid override table, it's just going to show all of those targets here on your bulk sheet. So that can be helpful for a couple different things. So just know that that's there. All right, so this next section we'll talk about is really, really powerful. Basically what you do is you go over to the settings tab and you can establish some custom bulk filters. So this first one, it's going to show us anything greater than 10 orders that has less than 45% ACOS. For the placement one, it's going to show us anything that has 2 times more orders on the highest placement, so 2 times higher than the second highest placement, and greater than 5 orders. So that'll really highlight anything, for example, that's doing top of search, say 10 orders versus 2 orders on the product pages. You'll be able to quickly find those. And then your top converting rate or conversion rate targets is anything greater than 8% on the conversion rate and less than 30% ACOS. Obviously here you can change those inputs however you want. And then all you'll do then is just come up here, and for example, if we want to see our top CVR targets, you'll hit that button there and it'll hop you over to your bulk sheet. And once the script says finished, then you'll know that all of the targets that meet that criteria are being displayed. So you can see our conversion rate over here, anything greater than 8%, and our ACOS was anything less than, I think, 40% or something like that. So that's another good thing that I like to do. I didn't go over it in the first video, but I'll sort this Z to A and then take some of these that may not have met my order threshold, which I think was like 8 maybe. So some of these that are like 7, but have a really good conversion rate, anything over 8. I'll put those on the bid override table along with kind of my top 20% and just bid more aggressive on these, because you really haven't given them a strong chance and they already have a high conversion rate. So why not bid more aggressive and see if you can get a lot more out of them? That's kind of the intent. Similarly with these other filters, you can do the same thing and just quickly identify, what you set your criteria to. This percent of sales sort can be helpful in just quickly kind of auditing on a SKU by SKU basis in all your single SKU campaigns, which target out of the bunch for each SKU is kind of carrying the load. This is going to sort it by a percentage that will total 100 for each of the SKUs. All right, so once it finishes, you actually have to click through each SKU to really kind of get some really good insight. So I'm going to just deselect that and click 1 there. And basically if I click this column AF, you'll see it sums to 100. And you can see 14% of my sales are coming from this this is an ASIN target. That's kind of the way it works. And then the second one's coming from this exact match, so on and so forth. So you can really kind of audit each SKU and just quickly see from a percentage standpoint what's doing the best and kind of carrying that ASIN. All right, and then moving on, we have our dupe checker and poor performers. The dupe checker can be nice because if you've accidentally added the same target within the same match type for the same SKU, it's going to give you a short list here of theoretically what you could be bidding against yourself on. There's a bit of conspiracy theory among Amazon sellers. If this happens, I tend to think it does not. I think Amazon's smarter than that. But nevertheless, you can pause any that you're worried about. So basically you can see all these have the same SKU. They're all targeting all glamping. Keep in mind this whole sheet is just demo data, so this is going to be a little bit arbitrary, but yours, when you click that, will be really relevant and you'll be able to quickly kind of see what's going on. But in this case, it's basically telling me that I've got 3 broad match targets that are all glamping in different campaigns or different ad groups, and one of them has orders here. These others, this one has impressions, but if I was doing this, I would pause this one and I would pause this one and I'd leave the one with orders. Moving on, you can see this one saying I got like 7 or something. Again, that's just because I made this dummy data up, but there are actually 5 here in exact match and then 3 in phrase. So you would pause 2 of them in this case, leave the one. I think you get the gist, but it basically just kind of sorts everything and filters out all of the ones that you wouldn't need to worry about when you're talking about duplicates. Poor performers, this is going to be a poor performer target sort. There's also a poor performer search term sort, so it gets a little bit confusing, but basically it uses this same filter criteria. When I talk about the search term sort, that's going to be covered in another video for the search term inspector tool when we're talking about bulk negating in research campaigns. But for this, we just want to know a poor performers sort or filter based on this criteria, which is greater than 2,500 impressions and less than 18 or I'm sorry, 0.18% click-through rate. So not a great click-through rate. High impressions, Amazon doesn't like that. High spend, you can obviously change that. This is maybe a little low for most niches. High clicks, threshold there. You're just going to go up here and click that poor performers button, and it's going to filter your bulk sheet accordingly. And these would be the ones, if you've got a exact match or ace and target, that you may want to pause. Or I use this as well in testing new campaigns. You can set like a spend threshold of, say, I'm not going to spend more than $15 on a specific target, and if I do and it doesn't have a conversion, I'm going to pause it, and that'll give more budget towards some of the other targets that you're wanting to quickly test. But you can see none of these have orders. A lot of these are getting flagged, it looks like, from the spend threshold or the click threshold. A few of them here maybe for the impression and click-through rate threshold. But yeah, the idea is here, the broad, you may not want to pause, just because there may be some specific search terms in there that are kind of causing this influx in spend. So that's better handled with the search term inspector and bulk negating, which we do use those same filters. It's just a different tool. It's called the Stoptimizer tool. Again, there'll be another video going into detail on that. But as far as your exact match or your ASIN targets, those can be handled in this way, just by pausing the target level here. And that's kind of what that filter is best used for. The review bid changes, this one's really nice. So basically, when you're all said and done and you're ready to do step 5, ready to upload to Amazon your new bulk file, you can click this button and it's going to expand a new column here. And basically what it does, it takes a subtraction between your original bid and your optimized bid, and then I can actually sort this a step further, Z to A, and that'll show me at the top, it's going to show me the bid that was increased the most, and if I scroll down to the bottom, it's going to show me the bid that was decreased the most. So that can give you a quick gut check on what's going on. So for here, I had one at $6. Now I'm bidding at $1.50. You can tell that hit a max bid threshold just based on some of the dummy settings I put in. But you can just kind of ask yourself, does this make sense? And if not, you can look further into it, and that would be done right before you execute this final step. And then finally, you've got to reset bids. This one honestly isn't used a whole lot. I may end up removing it. All it does is moves this original bid column and pastes it back over the column K here. Again, I can't really think of an application that that's used for. That was just kind of put in there originally, but you may have some application for it, so I'll probably leave it in there a little ways. And then finally, the performance settings, we already showed you that. That's the adding the black lines in there for each campaign. All right, so that pretty well sums up the bulk file filters and actions. In the next few videos, we're going to be going over the bid override table, SKU dashboard, and search term inspector, which are 3 really crucial kind of tables or tools in Apex that just really helps expand on the functionality of the platform. So I will see you guys on those videos. Cheers.